I'd like to welcome everyone tonight to the May 2026 Advisory Board meeting. Roger has a few announcements before we get started.
Thank you, Lee. Good evening, everyone. To minimize distractions during the meeting, please silence your cell phones. If you are attending virtually, please ensure that you are muted and your video is off when you are not actively participating in the meeting. The city reserves the right to turn off videos or mute participants. When the chair calls for public comment, please approach the podium. To indicate you wish to speak, virtual participants should use the raise hand function to indicate that they wish to speak. Please leave your virtual hand raised until you're called on. The primary format for accessing or participating in this meeting is in person at City Hall. Virtual access to view or participate in the meeting cannot be guaranteed. The chat function will be disabled. If you have trouble, you can communicate via the chat and I'll be able to see that. Or you can view the meeting on City YouTube channel and cable channel 25. Please state your name and zip code before speaking. All comments will be limited to 3 minutes. And now back to you, Lee.
Thanks, Roger. First thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from last month.
I motion to approve.
All those in favor? Or I guess we need a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any public comment? None present. Anything online, Roger?
No, there is not. There's no public comment, just making sure. Okay.
Agenda items. Update on Municipal Stadium from fundraising group. Andrew?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for making the time for us on the agenda. My name is Andrew Stockman. My zip code is 66044. I'm the curator of exhibitions at the Watkins Museum of History and also the lead of the Municipal Stadium at Hobbs Park Legacy Project. And we just wanted to provide a quick update for you all on what we've done so far and where we're going as a group. We've received over $20,000 worth of donations through our sub-fund at the Douglas County Community Foundation. We will shortly be using like half of those to pay Hernley Associates, who has drafted and since submitted a National Historic Register nomination for Municipal Stadium, and then a State Historic Register nomination for the Murphy-Bromlesick House. Those have been drafted over the last year or so. They're in review by Lynn Zollner, a city staff member as well, but we were able to submit that concurrently to the city based on Lynn's recommendation. We applied for a heritage conservation grant from the county and was not selected. I have some feedback that we got from that that I can share. And then our group was recently profiled in a segment or article with KSHB 41 out of Kansas City. I think someone in East Lawrence told them about our project, and one of the reporters came out and was with us for like 2 hours or more. They can maybe get another story out of that, but that was a lot of fun chatting about the project. Both Lee and Aaron shared their personal stories at the stadium, as did I, and that was, I think, well received by the community. So that's kind of what we've done so far. We're continuing to have monthly meetings. We've got another one tomorrow at 4 p.m. at the Watkins. And so where we're going, we're planning to do a community listening session Sunday, June 7th from 2 to 5 p.m. at Bon Bon in East Lawrence. Something I wanted to bring to the committee was if we were able to use like Parks, Recreation, and Culture resources to promote that event and share it with the public. I'm not sure the best way to do that, but wanted to get feedback on that. We're also looking at a State Historic Preservation Office grant opportunity. We need to follow up with Lynn Zollner and the Lawrence Preservation Alliance on that, but it's an opportunity that could get us some grant funding as well. All of those funding efforts are trying to build up to a historic structure report, which would be kind of the next phase in our project. That would be kind of an engineering-based report on how the concrete is doing at the facility. That would also include some master planning. That would include kind of a cost estimate of these various pieces of the project, which would be very helpful just for future goals and setting those and having the costs to back them up. and then continued fundraising possible through our DCCF subfund. So just continuing to get our name out there, continuing to update you all in collaboration with the city as the owner of the property. So that's what we've done and where we're going. I have some handbills here if we want to share those all for the community listening session coming up. But that's kind of all I had just as far as an update goes. I'm happy to answer any questions or any thoughts that the board.
This is John Nalbandian. So I'm curious about the fundraising and what the money is used for. So it sounds like there's fundraising to prepare for the designation, and then there's money for upgrading the facility itself. Is that right?
Right now, we're still in the, we're not quite to the point of fundraising for the actual updates to the structure. We got to get to the point where we know what those updates would be and having the cost estimates with that. And so the fundraising to this point has been to pay for the work for the historic register nomination and then any marketing or any other opportunities that we would have.
What are you just paying for somebody's time? What are you paying for? I'm just
For
curious.
the register nomination? It was like this whole process that Hernley Associates went through from an architectural perspective and the pieces they had to do with that. And then we had a volunteer group that worked on the historic significance of the stadium. So there were kind of two pieces to those, particularly for the stadium nomination. The entirety of the Murphy Bromelsick House nomination was drafted by Hernley Associates, so to pay them for their work.
And then there an application fee along with that? That's part of what you're paying
I
for
believe
with
so,
that?
yes.
So,
Well, how much money are we talking about that you need at this point?
I think we have the funds to pay what we need to at this point, but
okay.
we're continuing to raise funds for future marketing efforts and future historic structure report would be the next kind of 10
Okay.
posts that we're raising money for.
Do you have a guess, Larry Chance, do you have a guess on how much that structural analysis might cost?
It's it's within the tens of thousands of dollars range. I think perhaps 2 or 3 times that, but I'm not sure on an exact estimate.
Right.
I think a request for proposals would follow the community listening session and any other pieces of feedback that we get that would obviously inform the structure report.
This is Taylor Bussinger. The article is awesome. I read it. It was
Thank you.
There's a lot of community support. And,
Yeah.
I guess it seems like there's a lot of steps involved. Is there like an estimated time frame that you guys foresee? Like, how does that work? I don't know how any of this works. So what's a time frame?
We're in the time frame of years. I don't know beyond that really. It's been a step-by-step process to get to this point. We've been meeting for 18 months now, I think. But it's been an ongoing process to kind of figure out what our timeline would be moving forward. And especially because this is a volunteer group and working with all these moving pieces and stakeholders, it's been a little bit slow going at first, but I think we're at a point now where taking steps towards a HSR and moving forward with other fundraising efforts.
Good.
Lisa Hallberg, I have a question. So at the listening session, one assumes you will be listening to questions, maybe like ours, maybe others. Will that just be the point, or will you have information to share as well?
We'll just share what information we have basically shared with you all, some historic photographs, some more history of the stadium, like was in the article, and just sharing that history, and then people sharing their feedback on this project, what they might like to see from the stadium, and then the kind of architectural pieces and the historical pieces, filling in those gaps where people just may not be familiar with the stadium as well.
Thank you.
I'd like to personally shout out to Aaron and the kickball group.
Yeah.
Has been tremendous on the fundraising part of it. I mean, they've set up the website. They've done a lot of the things that we needed to have done to get to where we are right now. I mean, they've been present on everything. When the young lady did the article, I mean, they had kickball practice going on at the same time. And so they've been very helpful in getting us to where we are right now. But that public input may take us to that next step, we hope. because we do need to get other people involved who may not even know where 11th and Delaware is. From that article, I mean, I've had Gary, I talk about Gary Ray and the Ray Salvage Garage at 11th and Haskell where MSO is right now. I mean, that's where he grew up. He's in Arizona right now. He saw it. And I know he's got some money. And he just said, remember, you know, I lived right there. And I said, yeah, Gary, I know. He was a 1964 grad. So there has been a lot of people that have reached out, said, hey, let me know what I can do. Again, the question is where are you going with this? How much? We really don't know until we get the next steps. And then the structural engineering will say, well, the concrete needs to be done, ADA needs to be brought up. Who knows how much that's going to cost? And then we can target something and get that information out there. So we've gone through the history. We want to get public input. We wanted to bring it back to this group because that's very important. And anything you could all do to assist Andrew and Municipal Stadium project would be great.
Now, with you getting it put on the record, you know, and everything, are you wanting to return it back to what it was at all? Or are you looking at, I mean, is that going to be one of the questions for the public as well, from their feedback, that's kind of the way you're going? I just want to kind of
Right.
draw some things out of you that,
Yeah.
you know, you want to impart on this group too, so they can spread the word a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a lot of different options with the site. I don't know if it could be taken back to exactly what it was when like Lee was a bat boy there, and just the size of the land and the trail that runs by. Like, I don't think we want to mess with that as far as making it a full-on like professional size baseball stadium again, but just repairing the concrete, I think, is the biggest, or one of the biggest steps. The stadium used to have in-ground dugouts. It used to have.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of possibilities out there. I think where we're headed next would help us to nail down costs for some of these things, and then to work with the city and be like, well, what is feasible here? How are we paying for this? What's the partnership look like? So I think there's a lot of potential there. The Murphy Bromelsick House is kind of a separate piece of this, but still part of what our group has taken on so far with the nominations. So that's the other thing, is like, what does this kind of grander planning look like? I'm not experienced in that. I would love to learn more about that process, but yeah, a lot of potential.
And you will if you.
I'm sure I will. Yeah. And just relying on experts and things like that is obviously important too.
And see, I'm not so sure what the historical committee might say to us that we have to do X, Y, Z,
Right.
you know, for approval too. So whether it be the in-ground dugouts or just better dugouts, you know, the thing that we've talked about as another step eventually is what's it going to be used for? Because that's going to be the biggest question from the community and everybody else. And again, kickball has a place there. There's Sunday night game of the week. Is if you've never been there, you got to go and watch it. It's just unbelievable. You know, I know Parks and Rec, and talking with Alex and others at one time, you know, we talked about a game of the week for U12 baseball, and just one game down there on a Wednesday night, and just showcase a game with the lights and get the neighborhood there, and just simple things like that. We talk about a movie night, you know, we talked about neighborhood concerts. So, you know, we've kicked around a lot of ideas that the structure and the park itself could be used for in the utilization of the stadium.
Yeah, and making it ADA accessible too.
Yep.
That's another big piece of this. Currently, I don't believe it is. So, just making sure that it's a place for everybody in the community as well.
Any other questions with Andrew or any of the members out there?
You said the listening session is June 7th
Correct.
at Longbon?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Andrew, if you want to follow up with Roger and myself after the meeting, we can talk about helping spread the word and
Great.
see what we can do to help you there. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very easily done for
Okay,
for your
And
listeners.
I think Aaron's got some flyers or things that eventually we'll have ready to,
I've got them here.
and you've got them ready, to go to the farmer's market and some other places that we want to get those handed out.
Great. Yeah.
Yep. Any public comment, either present or online?
Nothing online.
Don't see any. Any other questions to Andrew? Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
for-
you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity.
It's exciting.
If you want to hand those out to these folks, we can if you want. That way they have them in their
I really
hand.
like the thought of all the things that could be used for.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's-
Thank you.
There's probably some that we're missing. Okay, moving on with the agenda, reports, roundtable. John, do you have anything more to report on the North Lawrence corridor study?
No, we have not met it.
Have not
And
met?
that's the way it probably will be too. I mean, I don't want to take it off because I know that you may have a meeting sometime and then I'll forget about it.
Any other items brought by the board? Man, moving right along.
Okay.
No kidding. All right, we're at reports right now. I guess, Mark, you're the first one up.
Well, we didn't have any follow-up items. I know that from the last meeting, so.
A little height here, maybe. There we go.
Yep.
We need to have like interlude music
Sing
or
a little
something.
song while it's going up. Busy time in the parks, so we're heading for graduation weekend, which we always try to look for city entrances to look good and landscape to look good. So we're aware of the number of people that'll be coming to town for graduation, so we try to put best foot forward there. We have a couple of mowing contractors that are running behind. We've already talked to them. Like if you drive Clinton Parkway, you'll notice the grass is that tall. So we're getting on those contractors to get us caught up by Wednesday of this week. So that's important. World Cup prep will follow that. So we're getting all the annual flowers in. Those will start showing up downtown probably next week. We're trying for big flower display, so we'll see if staff pull that off or not. But we don't want to put in little plants and let them grow in. We want to put in plants. So that's our objective, to get a really nice forward face for World Cup. So that's going on. Report on a couple other things. The Eagle Bend Golf Course, the raw water pump station is now filling the pond at the golf course, which is huge news. We've been working on that for 4 years. So that's working. We don't have the raw water pumping to the youth sports complex and adult softball complex yet, but we're at least got the bigger user golf course up and running, so that's huge. If you've been out there, you'll notice the pond's actually full now, where before it was down 3 foot, so that's good news. Outdoor pool project's moving right along, so if you recall, it's mostly the bathhouse is being renovated before we open, so strangely enough, pool fills next week. Can't believe it. But there'll be a few things that we didn't quite get done, but for the most part, the bathhouse is complete, so they're down to painting this week. So hopefully that'll all come through and everybody will notice what we've done with it. So playgrounds, report on a couple things. The Prairie Park Nature Center playground is complete, so that's been pretty popular. The Dad Prairie Park North playground is complete, so we renovated both of those two. The Water Tower Park playground, we should have surfacing finishing this week, I think, which will get it open to the public. So all of those have been since October or so last year, so long-standing ones, but we're making progress. Another thing I want to report on, the youth sports complex south entrance. So this will be after the highway is completed. There'll be an exit that comes right to the south side of the youth sports complex. So we're doing a project that'll pick up from the highway entrance exit, do a little roundabout inside the complex. So that'll eventually be the entrance to the complex, not where we are now on 27th Street. That 27th Street will still exist, but we'll just have two ways in and out. So we hope to bid that here in the next few weeks and get it constructed by fall probably, which right now it won't hook to anything until the highway gets to us. But we want to, as soon as the highway exit gets there, we want to have this thing ready so we can let people in and out of there. So that's the big stuff. The rest of us just trying to keep up with mowing, and it's growing like crazy. Any questions?
Mark, I've been out to YSC. Is there a second bridge going over that?
Yes.
Okay.
So the one you see out there now will get the traffic over to the new highway, and then they'll, as soon as they get that going, then they'll go second bridge right next to it, do the other way. So yeah, they're halfway done, but maybe not even halfway done yet.
Hard to envision
I
it.
was going to say, tough to get 4 lanes on that one bridge.
Yeah. Anything else? Man, we're moving right along.
Last
Thanks,
tab,
Mark.
did you give?
Splash pads?
Yeah.
Don't have a date yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Hopefully next week, we're shooting for that, but if the weather stays warm, that's helpful. When we keep going down to the 30s and 40s, it's not as important, so.
thanks, Mark. Porter, arts and culture.
On arts and culture, you're probably noticing new art around town, including the piece right out here in front of City Hall, which is exciting. Part of our Unmistakable public art exhibition, which is specifically celebrates the spirit of World Cup through 6 unique art projects, each offering a different creative perspective on public art and the world's favorite game, football. Our illustrious crew is currently working with 5 artists to install the 2026 Unmistakable Public Art Exhibition through downtown Lawrence. The 6th artist is actually 2 graphic designers from KU who are designing wearable public art. Mostly, if you're not familiar, I just learned this recently, the scarves that you see related to football are actually very specific to how people recognize their teams, their affinities. I had no idea. They hold them up as sort of billiards during the game. So they're creating Lawrence-specific versions of that, which will be really a remarkable keepsake. And those will be on sale during World Cup at various select mass retailers, which will be really exciting. I'm really excited about that project. And we will have 2 walking tours of our full exhibit. The first one will be on the first Friday in June, which is June 5th. And then one on the second Friday, or the final Friday, of June 29th, and both tours will begin at 5:30, and we'll meet at 9th Street and Mass. It's always a hearty group of people that shows up for those tours. They're really a lot of fun, so if you can join us for one of those, that would be great. The new mural that was created by local artist Tokia Wachi-Yu Richardson is complete at the Vermont Street Garage. If you happen to be at the library, he's got that all finished in there. Had a whole community engagement piece, had kids in there painting and learning about his native, culture and what he included in that mural. It looks great in there. It's really helping to make that a nicer space. And Roger and I have been participating on the Community Engagement and Cultural Experiences World Cup Committee, which is quite a robust group of folks. And we all assembled a list of different cultural events that will be occurring during World Cup. And you can find that on the scorelawrence.com webpage. It's really a pretty remarkable list, everything from events out at Clinton Lake to downtown and all around town. So, and if anybody wants it, email me. I'm happy to share that link with you. It's pretty quick and easy to get to. If you go to scorelawrence.com, and then you go under, it's kind of weird. If you go across the menu, there's one that says Who We Are, and under Who We Are is Events. Click on events and you will find something that says Score Lawrence unveils events to celebrate the tournament. So full list there. I thought Ruth might report, but I guess we'll report later on some of the watch parties that are going to be occurring. That's a broader kind of thing from Explore Lawrence too.
Yeah.
That's it. Any questions?
Are you going to reach out to the local soccer group in Last Street Mob and try to help everybody in their scarf sales?
This is a separate event as part of the I can make that connection if you'd like.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how that would
So
work.
this is already a local crew that goes to sporting and they have big scarves that say Mass Street Mob with like it's a really cool, I have a picture of it actually.
Little scarf.
If you can write down a contact.
I got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one.
Oh, cool. So, and they're two-sided. So there's already local scarves out there. So it's going to keep
Oh, I'm sure there's.
Remember when Mass Street Mob started? That was fun.
Me too,
I was
yeah.
one of the,
I was one of
like
the-
in that
yeah.
I was like, I feel good about this.
Yeah.
All right, moving on with reports, going to Lindsay with Recreation and the Director.
All right,
For
I'm
one.
combining
Yep.
mine together as usual. So one thing different this month, I do not have the numbers to share for the April monthly membership report because we've bumped it out to the third commission meeting of the month. the way the calendar is falling, we can't get the numbers assembled together in time to put it on the second meeting, which is what we've been doing. And so I haven't posted it to the commission agenda yet, but that will be posted. It'll be shared with the commission on next Tuesday. And so you can find it there. So then I will then plan on, it'll basically be a month behind, but I will share the numbers with this group at our next meeting.
So you'll give us the April ones?
Yeah, in June. So we'll see how that goes. But unfortunately, just with the timing of our meetings now, that's how we'll have to do it. But you'll be able to see it on the commission agenda.
And I'll send
Roger
that
can
out.
send those out like he's been.
Once they get
So,
posted, so you'll know they're there.
Yeah. So if you have other questions, though, about that, please let me know. Otherwise, for all things recreation, Prairie Park Nature Center has been busy with programs and field trips, kind of finishing up the school year. If you can imagine, they've been busy. Our lifelong group just enjoyed a trip to Britain with stops in Scotland, Wales, and England. And so that was pretty cool and pretty exciting for our group to be able to do that. And so they just got back, and I know they had a
How many
great
people
time.
were there?
I don't know how many went on that trip. I don't have the numbers, but I'm not sure. And tonight is the Unified Rec Acting 101 show at the Carnegie at 7 p.m. So if anybody wants to join, I think we're going to be done in time. So if you guys would like to go see that, they have their performance tonight. Otherwise, we're gearing up for summer camp. Obviously, the pool's getting ready to open. We just certified 23 new lifeguards, and then we have another class coming up with another 10 new lifeguards enrolled. So we're doing great with staffing and getting everybody ready to go for summer. For our sports program, we have 1,041 kids, kindergarten through 8th grade, currently enrolled. We have 97 teams in the youth baseball, softball, which starts up this week. So.
Okay, I was at the sports complex this morning and saw all the gear that, I couldn't believe how many kids he said
Yeah.
were going to be playing.
It's really exciting. Obviously, this is, our busiest time, and we're gearing up for all of our programs. Also, we're at SPL, we've mentioned we're taking a break on tournaments due to World Cup. We didn't program through the next few months, so we'll be taking a break for tournaments out of SPL during this time. But you'll see those numbers are the revenue that we've generated through the spectator fees. That will be on the report at the commission next week. But otherwise, all of that has been going great. And then just since we're talking about programs in our busy season, last Tuesday was the first day of registration program enrollment for summer programs, and we had over 1,300 people enroll on Tuesday on the first day. So that's just always exciting to see. Roger does a great job tracking those numbers for us every year, and we can take a look at, kind of trends and things like that. But really good turnout for program registration.
Does anybody have anything positive to say about the process? I mean, I got shut out. I mean, I can't believe how
You get shut out. That happens a
I did,
lot.
because my wouldn't take my credit card, and so then I thought, what we really need is we need a registration system that is run by artificial intelligence, so that it would say, this class is closed, but there are some others that you might want to consider.
There's always a glitch or two. If you
Yeah,
ever have
we-
any problems, call Roger.
Yeah, and I will say I've helped many people that day. If you have problems that day, please get with me if you're not getting a declined credit card or whatever.
I mean-
That shouldn't happen. And we had over 900 enrollments
Yeah.
online, so the system's working. It's just,
Are you talking about registering for classes or like,
yeah.
No, yeah, the classes.
okay, because I've had some
Exercise.
Frisbee folks reach out to me too and said the registration a little bit, but.
Yeah, but I went to Holcomb and they took care of me.
Okay.
Great. And that's all I had.
Oh, a question. Do we usually close the indoor aquatic center for the summer?
No,
So, but that's going to happen?
no. That was a budget proposal for '27. So the commission had asked each department to present possible
Close.
budget reductions if we were needing to further cut our budgets
I
for
see.
'27. That was just a proposed option.
Good.
And it riled up a lot of
Clearly is
moms.
not popular and not anything that we want to do, but we needed to submit some options, and it also included eliminating 2 more full-time staff, which again, if you remember last year, we eliminated 3. So, yeah, it's difficult, with last year we were tasked with a budget reduction of 1.8 million, so looking at further cuts for 27 is really difficult. And so unfortunately, it comes down to some really hard choices. So, yeah, that was a recommendation, and I know it's going to get brought back to the commission for further discussion with some other, I think, questions that they asked. So we're...
Let us know when it's
Yeah.
going to be on the agenda, because
Yeah, I believe they asked for our budget team to come back the first or second week in June, so if it's before this meeting, you might watch and see when that's scheduled
Yeah.
to happen, because that'll be an important discussion, I think, for all of us.
I know in the past, there's been concerns with part-time help. It sounds like it's a lot better. I mean, as far as getting lifeguards,
33 of them.
Yeah, and,
umpires,
and with,
playground people.
I haven't heard, and I know, I feel like we're doing pretty good with lifeguards. I think I know our, like, summer camp staff were full, and we didn't have any problems. I don't know, I think maybe parks seasonal staff might have had a little bit more difficult time filling, so it maybe kind of depends on the position, but
Good.
compared to a few years ago, we were really struggling, I know specifically with lifeguards.
Right.
And that has been better the last few years. And so I can't speak across the board, but I think in general, we're doing
Good.
pretty good.
good.
So we're ready for summer.
Sounds like it. Roger, am I missing anything? We're down to future agenda items.
Well, the future agenda items, and I should have probably put the subcommittee
Oh,
discussion
yes.
on that, and that will take place next month, hopefully, if everybody is able to be here at the meeting. Because I know that the chair wanted to Vicky wanted to be here for that discussion, so I said, well, we'll just move it to next month then. And then previous month, she wanted the two of you Lisa and you to be there.
What is that agenda item?
The subcommittee for
Discussion of
looking at
subcommittees.
the subcommittee for.
You volunteered,
looking at
don't you
foundation.
remember?
Yeah.
Oh, the foundation?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that piece.
I thought he volunteered to chair it, right?
I got that. No, Vicky,
Vicky was, that's right.
there's some
So,
interesting things going on.
Yeah.
So by that meeting, are we looking at bringing ideas for subcommittees to the table, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's more of
Perhaps
a,
in the brainstorming.
well, that's what her idea was to talk about, and one of the things I think on that, I would have to go back and figure out which meeting it was, but sometime in February, the city commission actually talked a little bit, and I had that link in there that was at the specific point where they talked about the subcommittee for this on some ideas, and I think one of them was a foundation, I think, was one of the discussions. You might want to go back in, and again, I can put that back on before this discussion to the email I send to the group, so you can review some of that stuff. I'll just
I
do
think
that.
that'd be good.
Yeah.
I think that was February.
Yeah, it was sometime in February.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll just make sure it's part of that. And to her point too, on the budget stuff, I'll try to keep tabs on that too when it's going forward and email you folks as well, that agenda item.
Onto the calendar.
As long as there's no other, I mean, the other thing is, I know that subcommittee was the big topic, but if there's other things that you want to
Right.
talk about, please, by all means, there'll be very short meetings otherwise. Which is okay. I'm not trying to say we need long meetings, but
Well, I'm sure we'll get an update from Ruth on the
Yeah.
soccer and the,
Could probably put that on the agenda, maybe.
right. Well, I know I've just sent up 9 right-of-way, alcohol in the right-of-way resolutions. 6 of them are for the SCORE Lawrence events, and then there's some other ones. So, lots of things this summer.
right. All right, next advisory board meeting, 5:30 Monday, June 8th, right here. And lastly, we have a motion to adjourn.
Whoa. I'll move.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So be it.
Wow, that's a record.
It might be a record.
But you-